Let the magic rise.
You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
This is London Calling.
My family and I. Hey, folks. And welcome to Jingly Jangly. Fake news and imaginary views for the post-truth society. Yes, your antidote to reality with me, Olly Connelly, here in Spain. Big cheers to Mona just now and all the Rev Radio crew. And today, nationalism equals racism? ? As France heads to the polls to decide Le Pen or Merkel, Macron, Jingly asks, is nationalism racist by default? Is that politically correct hogwash? Or is there some semblance of truth to this constant claim from the left-leaning establishment? We've got EU sage Miquel Puertas here to chew over this, along with Black Lives Matter advocate Lesley M. Blair, both good friends of this show. And old Piers Garnham's due to pop in too a bit later on. If you want to call in, to chip in, to put us all right, please do. The number's on the site, freedomslips.com, top of the schedule page, Studio B. Yeah, and I want to get straight into this tonight. Let's have a roll call. Miquel, are you there?
Yeah, of course, I am here, in Indonesia.
Good man. This is a Skype thing. We have to be careful. Lesley, are you about?
I am here.
Oh, wonderful. Lovely to hear your dulcet tones, sir. Okay, look, I'm going to start. I know Piers isn't here yet. He's going to join us in a little bit later. I'm very, very grateful for you guys coming in to have a chat, to thrash this out tonight. I hope that we're going to have a rounded debate and to try and look at this from as wide an angle as possible. And it's very much a topic in the headlights at the moment. We've got the French second round just about to happen with Front National, Le Pen, versus this kind of third-way candidate, this kind of Blair light type candidate, very much an establishment candidate, ex-Rothschild banker, sounds very familiar, Emmanuel Macron. And, well, we're all being told that it's basically a question of, you're either going to vote for complete upheaval and right wing, and it's going to be like, Nazi Germany again, versus, well, more of the same. Miquel, is that a fair interpretation, or am I missing something?
Well, I want to tell you that, first of all, myself, I want to be clear, here since the beginning, I am a leftist, from Barcelona. I was born in a district, in a working class district. I consider myself a leftist. But I am from Barcelona, and then I understood, that there are two kind of nationalism. One nationalism is somehow defensive nationalism that is for somehow some nations that are has been historically suffering, or crushed, by other bigger nations, It's a kind of deficit situation, nationalism.
A deficit situation.
Yeah. I mean, myself, I am a nationalist. Myself, I don't consider a nationalist, more, but somehow I might understand, some in some cases, no, I might understand, no, the position of some nationalist parties, no, because I'm thinking, no, even in the Spanish, let's say, political scenario, no.
Yeah.
The political scenario, you know perfectly know that in Catalonia there is a nationalism, and also Basque.
That's right.
And also even Valencia, or even in Andalusia, there is
Catalonia is not dissimilar to Scotland and the UK, is it? In terms of the sentiment. There's a lot of people that want independence.
But you cannot call them racist, no? Because racist is the other thing, no? I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, hold on. We're going to get into the definitions and what have you in a bit. But whoa, Miquel, let's just look at what's going on so far. I appreciate what you say. I have to say, I get a bit lost with what is left and what is right, to be honest with you, because it seems to me that if people are really true to themselves, everybody's got a bit of each. And it's very easy to become affiliated with a football club or your favorite band or whatever. But actually, and probably, you know, the country that you're born to is not entirely dissimilar to that in a way. It's sort of a habitual thing. But actually, is it not fair to say that we do? All of us, we share a bit of each. We share a bit of, you know, some of our values are more, if you like, to the right of the political spectrum, such as, for example, I imagine family values tend to be, if you like, to the right or akin to nationalist values. Whereas on the other hand, we also probably share some values where we want to, you know, share opportunity as much as possible, not least of all, because then we can trade on a more equal basis.
Well, you know, I want to tell you that the about the family. You say, you know, look, the right. You know, I am here in Donetsk, no. I want to be interesting, no.
In Donetsk, in Ukraine, yeah.
In Ukraine, no, that is bombed here by the pro-Europeans, no. You understand me, no? The pro-European nationalists. Those guys are nationalists, Ukrainian nationalists, are shelling, no, the city. And they are pro-Europeans. It's fantastic, because it's amazing, no? Because the people that say that Le Pen is a fascist, it's fascinating because actually they are supporting fascists here in Ukraine. You know what I mean?
Hold on. Let me get that right. Now I know you are. You know what? I really did cock up a bit. I didn't really introduce you properly, but you are the Gonzo blogger. You've been chronicling the war going on in the Ukraine. I know that, and very, very well. A lot of people I follow, and your take is that the EU instigated the war that's going on in the UK, the Ukraine. Sorry, not the Russians, the EU.
No, exactly. No. I not suggesting
EU-US conglomeration.
I want to tell you, I'm not suggesting anything. Just simply, it's a fact. I mean, it's a fact. Sorry, I am living here in Donetsk. I am following this conflict since the beginning. I know what they're speaking about. The media in Spain, well, they don't know what they're speaking about. Or if they know something, they don't tell anything. Just simply, look, here yesterday it was I will put an example. Yesterday was an anti-fascist conference here in Donetsk. Okay, came a very popular group from Italy that is called Banda Basotti. It's a kind of rock punk group, very famous in Italy and also in Spain because they are playing in Spain and also in France and in many countries. Those guys are like a Sex Pistol of let's say of Italy, no?
The Sex Pistols of Italy.
Yeah. But they came here 50 foreigners, 50 foreigners, Italians from France, from Italy. All of them were anti-fascist from the left. And also came a member of the European Union Parliament that she's also a leftist. It's a leftist. It's very interesting because those leftists are more like a liberal somehow. No, they are more liberal than the communists here because here in Donetsk they are communists and they are more traditionalists somehow. No, it's very interesting. Because here you can find the communists in Donetsk that are more like traditional values with the family and so on. And later you can find the communists from Western Europe that they are more like a liberal, you know. Well, I mean, all the liberal background, no. But both of them were here fighting against the fascists, Because this is a kind of, sorry, but those battalions that are bombing here, Donetsk and Lugansk, this is not this is not a Russian propaganda. I mean, I am here. I listen to the bombings. I saw with my eyes. I am all the time speaking with my students or my friends here. So
I don't want to get bogged down in Ukraine tonight because we've already done that show.
I know.
However, and people can check that out in the archive. Yeah, you can go to facebook.com but you can go to freedomslips.com and check out the archive there. But what I do want to ask you though, just because a lot of people listening, Miquel, bear with me. A lot of people listening tonight will be going, hold on a sec. That is not the message we've been getting from the MSM. The message we've been getting from the MSM is that the Ukrainian conflict was initiated by the Russians, that those shots being fired in Kiev in the square were Russian sniper bullets, not EU CIA sniper bullets. Do you say that those people are wrong and that they've been misled?
Not only are wrong, they should be even go to some kind of court or justice because they are telling lies, and I think that they know that they are telling lies. I mean, lies? Yeah, of course. And not only that, I want to tell you, it's very fascinating because
who's lying?
It's fascinating because Le Pen, for instance, I come back to the issue. Le Pen is a French nationalist. She's a French.
Who is lying? Who is lying about that? I just want to because I don't want to be too long on this Ukraine bit, but I just want to because this is
not lying. This is a criminal.
Let me finish the question. Miquel, please be a good guest, sir. If you're voting for Macron, then you're effectively voting for the EU. What you're telling us is that the EU has instigated a war in Ukraine, not Russia, the EU. Is that what you're...
I am telling you that. Not only a war, they instigated the destruction of Ukraine. Ukraine has been is in process of destruction, really, of implosion. Thanks to the European Union. I mean, they funded, they organized it, they backed a group of asocials, far-right elements, and corrupted politicians, and they destroyed this country. Okay.
Okay. All right. I have to say, my understanding.
Here in Indonesia, I want to tell you, I knew very decent people. I have to say, working class people are living here. My student, normal people, and they are somehow old-fashioned. They believe still in some of them still believe in the European values, but in the European values, not the European values that we are now enduring, but years ago when still it was a sort of democracy in the European countries, no? Because the European, let's say Europe suffered a process of disintegration, and also the most important thing, a degradation of the civil rights and freedoms, liberties, let's say, liberties in Europe, no? And then, at the end, the people are getting this propaganda from the mass media, and then they don't have other option that follow. If you want to know something, what is happening in the world, you should follow bloggers like me or alternative media like your program. That's it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're just trying to. We've got loads of questions, basically.
It's very sad. It's very
Hola.
sad. Yeah.
Now we've got old Piers who's popped in. Hey, Piers, mate, how are you? That's our Piers.
Yeah, I'm good. Piers, I'm good. Hi, guys.
This is something that you and I have talked about quite a lot. This Ukrainian business is just a joke, isn't it? Because we've been fed such a line. I mean, when I saw those pictures live going on in Kiev, to me, the whole thing, it just stank. It just didn't make any sense that was Russia there. And as soon as the coup happened, one of the first things that happened was Joe Biden's son was put in charge of the energy reserves in the Ukraine. It did disgusting, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I went to Kiev last summer. I was working in Kiev for a week in the beginning of September last year. And it's a beautiful place, actually. And the people are very friendly. And I genuinely really liked Kiev and the people. But they are torn up on their politics. They are quite anti-Russian and pro-America. But what they don't realize is just how much the politics have been influenced, by Western influences. Poroshenko is basically, I think, a Western puppet. And he has been instilled in Ukraine in order to basically prod and goad Putin, to stir things up. And I think the whole Crimea episode was a result of Western intervention primarily. And because Crimea is so strategically important, with its position on the Black Sea, it's a very strategic port, and I think Putin thought, well, the Americans have instilled their puppet dictator Poroshenko in Ukraine. We need to take steps in order to be able to make sure that we have secured the most strategically important port within the region. And I wouldn't be surprised if Putin did manipulate the Crimean elections. I mean, there's a large contingent within Crimea of Tatars who are severely opposed to Russian intervention. So one would not have assumed that the Crimean elections would have been as big a landslide as they were. That doesn't ring true when you think about it from a purely kind of practical point of view. Just looking at the spectrum of people that live there. So yes, there might have been some sort of foul play on the part of the Russians with Crimea, but I think that is as a direct result of the foul play by Western influences. I mean, you've got Monsanto and all the rest of it. These big
they've all moved in. They've all moved in.
I mean, Ukraine is the breadbasket of Europe. It's a huge, vast area of arable land, and all these giant American, companies, like Monsanto, want to move in and grow genetically modified crops there. It's also strategically very important in terms of access to
pipelines.
east-west pipelines, that sort of thing. So
that's right. That's what Chevron's doing.
It's very.
That's what Biden's son was dealing with.
Yeah,
and fracking as well. Fracking, lots of fracking since the coup.
It's
okay, let's not dwell too much on that though. But the reason I bring that up is because we have been told for the last 40 odd years how wonderful this European dream is or was, and personally I was completely sold on that, and I think most of us were. And actually, you know what? It just turns out they're just another bunch of warmongering tossers. And and then we're being asked, or the French people are being asked to support that via this guy Macron. Now, I just want to, Miquel, I want to come on to Lesley in just a sec, very very briefly. But Miquel, can you just give us a bit of an idea of the very latest news coming out of this presidential election in France? Because I know you've been following it. What did you think of the debate last night, or the kind of tone of that debate?
Well, last night, unfortunately, I was. But I was with a member of the European Union Parliament. It was here in Donetsk. That now is from Italy,
An Italian, what?
Today it's very funny because Poroshenko asked the Prime Minister Renzi to deport her to Kiev to be in the trial. I mean, to be jailed. No? This guy is ridiculous. I mean. Sorry,
Miquel. We missed the beginning of that. You were with an MEP last night, an Italian MEP.
Yeah, MEP with an MP of the European Union Parliament. Yes.
Right.
And she was here in Donetsk with a group of musicians from Italy. And today the news is that the Poroshenko regime asked Prime Minister Renzi to deport her that she's a member of the European Union Parliament, to deport to Kiev because she has to be she's a terrorist because she supported the terrorists here. This is
Oh,
not
really?
me.
So
This is the
she-
news. The
right.
news here. I mean, member of the European Union Parliament, the EU Parliament, to be jailed. Because she came here to the nest to support the people, anti-fascist people here. No. This
And Renzi went to
is the European
her
Union. This is the European Union we are living right now. You understand me? These kind of things are happening. I'm not creating any kind of that I try to be. I am explaining what I see with my own eyes. You know
What is this lady supposed to have done?
She came here conference and participated many foreigners with a very famous group. It's a band. It's a rock band called Banda Bassotti. The Banda Bassotti is quite popular in Italy. Well, no, they came here. It was a member of the European Union Parliament.
Right.
It's called Eleonora Fortezza, no? And then this lady was here. And she was speaking in the hotel, in a hotel, one good hotel here. It was a conference in Hotel Ramada. In Hotel Ramada. Well,
What, did she say something wrong? Or?
This Eleonora Forenza is member of the United Left, the group Left Wing Party. She's a communist, actually, Italian communist, and she came.
This is the MEP.
Yeah, it's an MP. It's an MP. It's a member of the European Parliament. She came here just to the conference. She gave a very interesting speech about the fascists, how fascists again became a force in Europe, and also so how they integrated, also how creating, especially in Eastern Europe, fascists has morphed into a liberal fascist. No, I mean the liberal and fascists are somehow together. No.
Yeah, I think it's fascists on both sides. Absolutely.
Yeah. And they, well, no. Now today the news is that Poroshenko sent a kind of through the system to Matteo Renzi, ask him to extradite. Extradition.
Yeah, extradite. That's
open. Tigering the process of extradition of Eleonora Forenza. That is member of the European Union Parliament,
what did she do?
also the Banda Bassotti. The Banda Bassotti, that is like it's like deporting U2 or the Guns N' Roses or something like this. You understand me? No?
Yeah, but what did she do? What did she do?
We are going to deport the Italian Guns N' Roses, no? Because they came here to
Guns N' Roses.
Those guys were playing yesterday here in Donetsk. They were playing in the street. And
Miquel, darling, what did she do?
Anything. I mean, she came here. She met. We organized it because I am teaching here in the university. We organized a meeting with the rector of Donetsk National Technical University, and some teachers. And also we went to an area where the university was bombed and destroyed. And this Eleonora went there, a member of the European Union Parliament. She saw with their eyes. How the Maidan, the supporters of Poroshenko, I mean the battalions, those far-right battalions, bombed the university with teachers and students inside. And then we went to a place where, well, it's so clear, no? It's a kind of auditorium destroyed there, no? By heavy artillery, no? The thing is that she just simply was speaking with the rector, and she participated.
And he's gone.
We met in this hotel a group of activists and also locals. They became also member of the government, of the local, the Donetsk People Republic government. And then just simply she was speaking there. She did a very interesting analysis about what is happening now in the European Union. This is the process of degradation of liberties.
Okay, so you're saying that there's a problem of freedom of speech, basically, within the EU.
There's a problem of freedom of speech, yes, in Europe, yes. That's clear. That is clear. You can imagine, and not only that, the European Union is supporting a group of criminals in Kiev. I have been in Kiev as well, me, and in Odessa and in Lviv. I started to follow the Maidan. I was just before the Maidan, and also I was the last time I was in Kiev was in October of 2015. I know perfectly the conflict. About the people, look, in Kiev, I have been in Kiev. Well, your colleagues say that many people hate Russia. Well, this is maybe a sector, a faction of the Ukrainian society. But there are many people in Kiev, I know many of them, that they don't hate Russia. They know what is happening there. They know perfectly that this is what happened in Ukraine. And then there is a sector of the population that, yes, they hate Russia, but other not. No, if you go to Kharkiv, still is not free. Kharkiv because the violence.
Kharkiv. What's that?
Kharkov or Kharkiv is the second city in Ukraine, and
right.
Poroshenko have a lot of problem there because this is the second city. Poroshenko a lot of problem for controlling the city. This city can fall tomorrow. Fall means just simply it can be an insurrection there, like here, like.
So that would be like another Crimea, you mean?
Can I just step in for a minute?
I don't think that's. Look, your colleague is right. The difference between Donetsk or the Donbass and Crimea is that the Russians were interested in Crimea. They are not interested at all in the Donbass. I mean, for what? I mean, here is not a strategy at all. And also, well, the thing that they are producing is coal. Here, the people produce steel and coal. This is the Russians, they don't need these kind of things. They don't need that. You understand? It's not strategic at all. And also Kharkov. Kharkov is the second city in the. But those people don't want to be part of the European Union. They don't. The people don't understand that there are people in the world that they don't want to be part of the European Union. Are able. Is able. I mean, do you understand people? That there are people in the world that don't want to be part of the European Union.
Why? Why do they not? Why do they not want this wonderful dream?
This is a nightmare. The European Union.
Why do they not want it?
Look,
¿Por qué no?
Look, ask the Brexiters why you don't want to be part.
¿Por qué no lo quieren?
I don't know. Why you don't ask the people that voted against for Brexit? For Brexit, they voted for Brexit. They don't want to be in the paradise.
You mean the nationalist racists?
They don't want to be in the paradise. And the guys from Donbass is also...
Okay, I'm being provocational. Piers, what were you going to say?
In the Donbass, they are not nationalist racists because those guys are
I was going to ask Miguel if he is a fan of Ukrainian ladies because... not really.
I want to tell you, myself, I was living in Lithuania 10 years, okay? 10 years living in Lithuania. The Lithuanian ladies are, well, 2 times. So, for me, for me, it was very sad. Look, I was forced to leave Lithuania. I was forced to leave Lithuania.
Ukrainian ladies are lovely. They are just the most beautiful women I've ever come across. I mean,
you should go. You should go to Kaunas or Vilnius.
I tell you what, lowering the tone as soon as Piers comes on.
Sorry. I just wanted to get a plug in.
Really, you think that the Ukrainian ladies are beautiful? Go to Vilnius or to Kaunas better, no? And then you will find really beautiful ladies.
Yeah. They are very beautiful ladies.
It's true. It's true that look. Sorry.
Okay. All right. You two, you've had your chip for crying out loud. I'm going to bring Lesley in. Hold on. Whoa. I'm bringing Lesley. You want a ladies' man? I'll show you a ladies' man. Yeah.
It's good. Look, the one thing of living. I want to do things. Olly.
Darling, shut for a sec. We have also got Lesley Blair, songwriter, producer, poet, a super bloke basically, and he's an activist with Black Lives Matter, and he's a seriously good geezer. He and I do not see eye to eye about the whole Black Lives Matter thing. Personally, I kind of think it's a kind of an inverted racism, if you like, but he's such a lovely guy, and he is a sort of bloke that brings people together. And so I completely respect. And obviously, yeah, it's easy for me to say that because I've never had anybody pointing a finger at me. Well, I say that. I do every now and then. Being in Spain, I do get racism on the other side. But, hey, Lesley, how are you? God bless you, sir.
I'm doing okay. How you guys doing? How you doing, Miquel?
We're surviving.
How you doing up here?
Hello,
How you
hello.
doing, man?
Hello, everybody.
Nice to hear your voice, Les.
Yeah, good
Les,
to hear.
what's
This
going
is interesting.
What is going on now with Trump? I mean, the last few months under we're getting so racially tense in the United States.
Correct.
And it seemed as though Trump could only wasn't exactly going to improve the situation, but actually things are a little bit calmer now, are they not? Or has the news agenda just changed, or what?
Well, for one thing, it just got to be a little bit obvious at how ridiculous this whole thing is. You have some people that will actually die hard, Trump is God, and all of this kind of nonsense. And then you have some other people that are just absolutely flat out embarrassed that this guy is this is our president. So it's a very, very insane show that's going on right now with America. And the leadership is just all over the place. It's hilarious. It's all over the place. You have Trump against CIA, CIA against Trump, the NSA. It's just horrible. It's ridiculous. And then, of course, here's Vault 7 that came out that put everybody's dirty laundry right there on Front Street. And it's just this is embarrassing. It's just absolutely embarrassing.
Vault 7, you say?
Vault 7, yeah, the WikiLeaks.
The WikiLeaks.
Oh.
Yeah. So you have, Podesta and everybody snitching on everybody. It's horrible. Pedophiles getting arrested it's just horrible. Horrible.
Well,
it's just embarrassing and it's horrible.
Is there quite a bit of that going on? Has he at least been addressing the kind of Pizzagate type thing? Has he been addressing that?
Actually, yeah. But I have a whole different take on that, and it's not a popular one, but I'll go ahead and say it. Yep. It's kind of like back in the day, right? Well, not even back in the day, in the hood, right? You got a little guy over here on the corner, he's selling drugs, right? What they'll do is arrest that guy and get him to snitch on the bigger ones.
Yeah.
All right, now think about why I said that. Let me tell you why.
Well, it sounds as though people like Weiner must be concerned if the allegations have got any truth to them.
Correct.
Or Hoomer Abdon, her old man, wasn't it?
Well, what I mean is there were charges, like a charge against Trump that magically just went under the rug with some 13-year-old, right? Something that got swept underneath the rug.
Oh yeah, that's right. During the election campaign.
Right.
But then it could have been a left.
Well, I mean, let's face it. I mean, Trump's done a 180 on a lot of his policies lately, and you do wonder what they've got on him. I mean,
absolutely. Well, what's in his tax returns that he won't put forward? Exactly, and that's the funniest thing, because it's like America doesn't see it, but it's kind of like they chose him for a reason, and it's also like a puppet. He's just like all presidents are of the United States. All of them have been always you've heard me say this before, Olly, they're selected. We never elected nobody.
I just got a mosquito. I just killed a mosquito. Hurrah! I swear, every time I kill a mosquito, I swear it is reincarnated as a politician. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Haven't you got your net? Haven't you got your nets up, Olly? I've been to Olly's flat in Spain, and he's got these special built-in mosquito nets that you can sort of pull down in the wall.
I do.
So you can keep the doors open, and you've got this sort of.
I've got a machine gun cannon too.
Yes.
Hold on, I'm just putting the net down now. Yep. Okay. Sorry about that.
State-of-the-art mosquito nets. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, Lesley. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know what to make of Trump. I mean, I think we all vaguely hoped that he might be anti-establishment, which is my main thing.
Exactly. That's what everybody hoped, because of his background as being an entrepreneur, and he's not exactly the type of guy that will play ball. But the other problem is being a businessman, he's very good at probably pissing down your back and telling you it's raining. So that's the other problem. You see what I'm trying to say? That's another problem.
Well, he was also mates with Jeffrey Epstein, wasn't he? And Epstein seemed to entertain a lot of very important people, including Donald Trump, with a nice little assortment of young nubiles who were of questionable age. Whether it be boys or girls. I mean, whether it be
Prince Andrew.
Prince
that whole
Andrew,
scam.
Bill Clinton. We've talked about this before, but I mean, like
Bill Clinton 26 times on his Lolita Express on his private jet. Apparently, yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, this is deliberately orchestrated as a blackmail vehicle. And I wouldn't be surprised if Trump has been compromised as a result of this as well. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
So, he had all these ideas about changing things, and now suddenly he's literally gone completely turned around on himself. And because they've probably shown him footage of himself, mounting some 15-year-old nubile and said, look, we're going to release this to the world if you don't bloody play ball.
Yeah.
He's so vague. Maybe they just got a picture of him without his wig on. I don't know.
Did you see that footage of The Simpsons where he's in his office and his wig does a sort of 180 where it's like a dog sort of sitting on his head, and it sort of gets up and does a turn like dogs do in their beds and then sits back down again. Oh, it's absolutely hilarious.
Well, see, this is what I'm saying. This is really, really bad. Like, this is really, really bad. Now, there's things that, Trump are doing that's been cool, but it's just like a lot of people are sitting back like going, yo, this is like, what is he doing? Like, stop tweeting. Like, just stop. Just don't, just stop that. Somebody take his phone from him. Just stop. It's just like, oh my gosh. And then other people, just like I said, oh, he's God. He can't do wrong. Oh, this is, and you look at these people like, what? Wow.
Is he okay? Let me ask a question that roughly, is he racist? Is he racist or is he a nationalist?
Let me tell you what Don Cheadle said, in a tweet.
I like Don Cheadle. He's a very good actor.
Absolutely. He had a golf buddy that came to him complaining that basically this is what Trump said to him. He asked him, had he ever, F-U-C-K'd a N-word. And Don Cheadle tweeted. Now, the minute my friend told me that he said that, I don't have no respect for him.
No, that is horrid.
See, he said that. See what I'm saying? So this guy, like, wow, like he says stuff, does stuff. People just ignore it. People just make excuses.
Can we be sure that was
sorry? This is Donald Trump said this on the golf course to somebody. Is that what you're sort of in? Yeah.
He was in a buggy with Don Cheadle, and he said that. And Don Cheadle, that's what he's alleging. But is there a possibility? Is there a possibility that Don has been bought? I mean,
what are you kidding? You're just playing devil's advocate, aren't you, Olly?
Of course. Exactly. But here's the thing: I've seen Trump sit down, meet with supposedly black leaders and black people, and he says the most brilliant, loving, beautiful promises, and then when he gets in office, in other words, this is what's funny about Trump that I've noticed. Trump will be with the quote unquote black crowd, and he appeals to them. Like, it's phenomenal. It really is. You would think he's a very, very sincere, really, really cool cat, yada, da, 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 da. And then you could turn right around and see him sitting there with the Tea Party people or the right wingers, and it's just like, what? This is the same guy? So I think he's very brilliant at telling each party what
he's a chameleon.
They want to hear. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And that's a salesman. So what I had said before Trump got into office, like when, I was like, wow. So I said, well, what we have in office now is a businessman. So don't be surprised if he sells the whole country out the back door. That don't take it personal. That's what businessmen do. So I think Trump is making deals, which there's evidence of that. There's been deals he's been doing that ain't like, yo, what are you doing from the White House? Like, you making deals, like people were like, what is he doing? So it's just
he's giving the military industrial complex a sort of free rein, isn't he? I mean, they're running out of bombs. They're bombing so much.
Like, what in the world?
They should bomb Pyongyang. They should. No, this is a thing. No, bombing Pyongyang is a good idea. No, what do you think?
North Korea. North Korea.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's bomb.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Everybody feels like, will somebody get this guy out of office before he get us all killed? Like, what is wrong with this dude? And then other people are like, other people are like, he's so great. He's the great. And it's kind of like, and Olly, this is a funny thing, and you and me and it have had this conversation. There is a psychopathic, racist, Anglo-Saxon, right, kind of an attitude, right, the white supremacy thing, and it's like he appeals to them, so they don't see nothing wrong with him.
I tell you what, Lesley. I mean, I don't want to hark on about this too much, but personally, I find the whole setup of race and discrimination and racism in general in America quite bizarre and difficult to understand. I mean,
you can hark on a bit, Piers, because that's what the topic's about.
Well, I suppose,
I mean, I can explain
it's about nationalism over. Yeah, is nationalism racism? Well, listen.
You know what? Hold on. Piers, let me just quickly read the definitions, because I think so often we lose sight of what these words mean, and I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page here, and people listening particularly. So nationalism, one. This is according to Collins, some Collins dictionary. Nationalism, 1, a policy of national independence. 2, patriotism, sometimes to an excessive degree, and then in nationalist is the adjective. Or nationalistic. So let me just say that again. Nationalism, 1, is a policy of national independence. So I think that's basically the way the Brexiteers felt. I know it is the way I felt. 2, patriotism, sometimes to an excessive degree. Not necessarily. Okay, so that's nationalism, And if we look at, what's the other one? Racism. Yeah. Racism, or racialism, which is the same thing. Oh, blimey. Excuse me.
Come on, what does it say?
Here we go. 1, hostile or oppressive behavior towards people because they belong to a different race. 2, the belief that some races are innately superior to others because of hereditary characteristics. So, 1, hostile or oppressive behavior towards people because they belong to a different race. Or 2, the belief that some races are innately superior to others because of, I don't know.
All right. Well, I want to.
If I may, about this definition. The first definition I get in terms of nationalism, that's beautiful. I got that definition. What's wrong with that second definition, meaning the first and second definitions of the second word? What those two descriptions are describing is what you would define a prejudice. Okay, some people being prejudiced against someone else for an indifference.
Yeah, well, being the racist definitions. Yeah.
But wait. Let me shed some light on the subject here for a second. Bear with me. Racism or racialism is when you have the power, economically, politically, to oppress another ethnic group under those terms based on a prejudice. So in other words, you can be prejudiced, but you don't have no power to affect them one way or the other. That's a prejudice. But racism in America or globally is a completely different animal, because you have the power to deny somebody this, to make sure they don't go here, to write laws that are, that's racism. Racism is systematic.
Yeah, look at the way people are systematically shot in the streets, and then whoever does it gets off. I mean, America is America
if I may, your point, Ollie. Piers, if I may, that's a perfect point. Now, let me show you this in a quick analogy for those of you just listening. Okay, you take a racist white cop who kills somebody of color, right? Now, people go, wow, that cop. Well, hold on a second. Let's watch this. Let's blow this whole thing out. Here's a white cop who can kill somebody and this is what I mean by racism. Watch the definition of what I'm saying. Here you have a white cop that can kill a person of color on camera. It's murder, right? Everybody agrees it's murder. The guy was just reaching for his wallet or whatever it might be.
Or running away.
Running away with his hands in the air, for crying out loud. Actually, sometimes with his hands in the air, cops say, put your hands up. He puts his hands up and he kills him right there. Well, here's what's so crazy. Now, you see that on video, right? So here you have these other cops. Let's say if it's 10 other cops, 12 other cops. Now, they just saw another cop commit murder. Did they do anything? No. Okay, so now the problem is amplified. It's not just that one cop. It's the other 12 that sat there and did nothing.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, this is complicity. This is complicity, isn't it?
Yes.
But you've got to.
Then you take the whole court system, and then you take the media, and then you take the people that saw the murder happen, but they're siding with the police officer.
That's a little bit like voting. That's a little bit like voting for whatever government that then goes and backhands kowtows with Saudi Arabia, who then puts down the women and wants to, kill homosexuals.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. We are, you could argue, inherently racist in the West, in our political systems, and in our complicity as voters. But then again, that is a bit strong.
No, well, look, you've only got to look at history. America was built on the backs of slaves. I mean, we basically went over to sub-Saharan Africa. We loaded up our boats with people. We brutalized them to an unimaginable degree. We took them over to our colonies and we whipped, beat and brutalized them and worked them to the bone in order to get rich.
Let's not forget the Indians that got annihilated that were here.
Yeah, exactly. So to be fair, Western Europeans, nobody could argue against me saying Western Europeans are the most brutal people on the face of the planet. They are, without any question.
I don't know about that. I mean, look at
they are.
Yes.
No,
I think that's a little bit self-flagellating, mate.
I don't know. It's so not because we went in with our arrogance, assuming that our way of life was better than anybody else's. When when you look at tribal culture,
you're talking about the sins of the father.
No, yes, I am. I mean, I know that we're not directly responsible for this, but you know what? I actually think
a lot of slavery going on still today, has to be said.
And I have to say this with all seriousness. I think Black Americans should be given reparations for the sins of colonization. Because they were they were systematically brutalized for centuries, and that has a scar.
To add what you're saying, there's been other ethnic groups that have received forms of reparations, except us.
Yeah, the Native Americans.
Ours is the biggest bill.
Yes, exactly.
They can't pay that. They pay that, they go broke.
Exactly.
Ours is the biggest debt to pay.
I mean, what really needs to happen is a proper, a proper recognition of the fact that, of the sins of previous years. And the trouble is, there is systematic racism in the States, a latent degree of it that still lies there below the surface. I mean, everybody, is supposed to get on, in inverted commas, and be nice to each other. But we all know that the racism still exists. I mean, it does everywhere
systematic is strong, man. That's a strong charge.
It's not, because you look at what happens. You've only got to look at what happens in the street, Ollie. I mean,
I think in certain elements of the system that's more likely, but I think that's very unlikely in the justice system compared to in the police system.
Well, what country are you talking about?
Anyway,
what country are you talking about, Ollie?
Well, I'm talking about the US. I'm following your lead here.
No. Then remember the other day I sent you a video by Romney Malco. It's called Racism, the Racket of Racism. Okay? Racism for dummies. Okay. If you watch that, there's no way you could make that statement. If you listen to that 5 minutes and 51 seconds of how systematically they wake up every single day with ways to try to kill us, rape us, oppress us, systematically, laws after laws, amendments after amendments, prisons after, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, quite frankly,
if that's true, why was there a black president?
Oh, I can answer that one for you too. Let's talk about that black president. There were more black people killed in the streets underneath his nose, and he did nothing.
Yeah, there were a lot. Yeah.
I mean, there was a black president because he was a.
I didn't vote for him.
But that's you're now casting aspersions about him as opposed to the people that voted for him. He was voted for as a black guy.
No, he wasn't. He was voted.
Wait.
I don't think it.
But wait, there's two sides to that. Olly, remember what I said before? I said that our presidents have been selected for us. We have never elected a president. That's a fact. That's one.
The people that voted for him.
Right, I know.
Okay, so wait. So trust me when I'm telling you. Technically speaking, if you're looking at America being the majority of America being white, trust me when I tell you, they did not go behind some curtains and say, oh, let's vote for Barack en masse. They didn't do that. They liked it for everybody to believe that they did that, but they didn't do that. But so what I'm trying to say is they wanted to make sure that he won, because I told you this was the whole point of Barack. They wanted to, meaning the powers.
You're talking about the deep state.
Yes, they wanted to make sure, and this is to answer your question more specifically. They wanted to make sure that all of the dirt that they wanted to do, just like from the Bush administration, the previous administration, they wanted to make sure that they can shovel as much dirt underneath his watch, because they knew America would never get past the color of his skin for what is wrong with America. So they picked him for that reason, to blind everybody while he shoveled all of this dirt underneath his watch. And everybody did what? Oh, we can't wait to take our country back from this. See? Barack caught the blame for everything wrong that happened in America in the last 400 years. Everything was Barack's fault all of a sudden. Now, I'm not trying to defend him. I don't like him either. I'm just trying to tell you that that's the reason why they chose him. That's the reason why they chose him. They chose him.
Well, it has to be said, he just got paid $400,000 for a speech on Wall Street, as though that was like the, hey, big cheers for, the bailout that you gave us 8 years ago, and for making sure that Glass-Steagall was never put back.
Lesley's right. They pick presidents based on what they think will work dynamically at any given moment, and they needed to break. They needed a black president. They needed to have a black president. So they had one. It didn't matter that he was black. He's a clever guy.
It didn't matter at all.
He was far more eloquent and charismatic than George W. Bush.
Exactly.
In many respects,
well, it was McCain. It was McCain that he was running against. John
many
McCain.
Respects, he did what they expected him to do. What was written on the tin. This is what we want. And actually, Obama delivered in many respects, because he towed the line. He said. He read his speeches and he did it with eloquence and sophistication.
Yeah, he promised change.
And
no lobbyists at the White House.
People totally bought into it. I mean, the guy, nobody can deny that Obama was a clever guy and very amiable and likable. That's exactly what they want. They want, after the debacle of George Bush was a disaster. I mean, the man could barely string a sentence together. He was a chronic alcoholic who just stood on the golf course, sort of jeering at journalists. Barely able to sort of string a sentence together, and then you suddenly get Obama, who's a clever, eloquent, well-spoken, articulate guy, and everybody's like, wow.
I have to say, I put at the top of my Facebook page the day after he got in, I put in capital letters, "Congratulations, America." It just seemed so exciting But then it just turned out he was Uncle Tom. He was an Uncle Tom. Was he not?
This is what I'm saying. Like a lot of black people that I know, we talk, we got to vote for our black president. And I was like, hold on a second, something's wrong. What? I was like, I'm not buying that. What do you mean? How could you say that? We ought to vote for him. I said, hold on a second, something's wrong. Okay. Like this guy came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Are you still there, Miquel?
Yeah, I follow you, no? About this analysis of Obama, no?
Or anything in
Obama she was clear, no? Because Obama was actually, it's like a Ronald McDonald, you know? It's like a it's the same, no? It's able to send you Happy Meal, it's a Happy Meal, but actually it's a shit, you know?
There you go.
You understand, it's like this, no? Really, you buy shit, but it's a Happy Meal, and you feel happy, you pay. It's amazing, no?
That's quite a good analogy.
Yeah. We're coming up. Top of the hour, guys, and blimey, hold on, whoa! I'll tell you what, we're coming up to the top of the hour. This is absolutely so superb. I'm really chuffed to have Miquel Puertas and Lesley Blair, and old Piers is here too, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes, just after we've got a beer or. You're tuned in, Revolution Radio. Yeah, this is Jingly Jangly. I'm Olly, Connelly.
Radio for Journeys with JP. With a variety of guests, each giving their perspective on their journey into the now. Join me and my guests Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern on Revolution Radio Studio B.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. See how the trouble you've started?
Join us here on Revolution Radio, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern on Studio B, for a politician, patriot, social savant, businessman, former investment banker, and Veterans Today columnist, Mike Harris. Listen to Mike as he exposes the corruption, sedition, and terrorism within our own government. He knows our system is flawed and that obstruction of justice is all too commonplace. His show, Short End of the Stick, pokes at this corruption with eloquent style. That's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Studio B for the Short End of the Stick with the man who should have been elected governor of Arizona, Mike Harris.
That's right here on Revolution Radio.
Hello.
Oh, blimey. Oh, strength. Are we back? Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
Can I just...
Before you do, Piers, one thing. I just had a really, really good note from Mona here, actually, who says, you know what? The Irish got shipped to the US before the Africans as slaves. Now, there's no colour or ethnic difference. We're all slaves to a matrix system. And she's got a damn good point. We're all debt slaves, for crying out loud. I mean, we're all in hock to the Rothschilds, aren't we?
And the Chinese. The Chinese were largely responsible for building the railroads with the Irish in America. They were called coolies, and the Chinese. I mean, there's a whole story behind why there were so many Chinese in America, which we could go into, but I probably don't have time now. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There were other oppressed people from around the world that were brought in and seen as a subculture, and it, I mean, I just wanted to, the thing I wanted to say was I saw a film the other day called Hidden Figures. I don't know if any of you lot have seen it. But it's about these black ladies working at NASA to help with the NASA program with the maths and getting these astronauts into space. Now, I don't know how factually accurate it is, but the one I sat through that film and I was just painfully embarrassed from start to finish about just how horribly racist the environment that these ladies had to work in was. You know, I mean, it was just.
Why should you be horribly
awful.
embarrassed?
Well, because I
you should be
couldn't believe.
sad for them, but
I was
why
sad
be
for them,
embarrassed?
but I was embarrassed because I couldn't believe that people could be treated not that long ago. You know, we're talking about the early 60s. You're
not telling me you feel guilt for your forebears, though.
I do feel guilt for my forebears because I find it.
The Germans have got right now. This is the problem they got in Germany right now. Their culture's being eroded with Merkel saying, you know, come on, let's bring in loads of. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of refugees. They need some help. We need to stop bombing these people out of their homes. But on the other hand, we need to accept that is the hub. The root of the problem. We've got to stop killing these people and bombarding their culture. And then guess what? We have an infiltration as well into ours. And so, for example, in Germany, it seems to me where some little villages are being overrun, where there's maybe a couple of hundred people in what's barely more than a hamlet. And then they've got 700 refugees living in a refugee center in that town that's sprung up. And it completely changes the entire dynamic of the place. And that is cultural genocide, you could argue. And that's going on. Why is it going on? Why is Merkel getting away?
Yeah, but this is a slightly difficult. This is a different recipe, Olly. I mean, you know, I don't. You're basically combining people, you know, who have different culture, different religion. I mean, Black Americans, the vast majority of them are Christians. You know, they're just like everybody else. You know, and so therefore there is no difference. There's no difference, and yet prejudice exists. You know.
Hold on, no. There's a big difference between a Christian mindset and a Muslim mindset. I'm not saying one's right and one's wrong.
What he's saying is that you have white Christians here killing African Americans that are Christians. That's what he's saying.
I'm basically saying there's no difference between people.
That's what he's
they
saying.
all have the same ideals and they believe in the same philosophies. Right. And yet there's still this prejudice, you know, this underlying prejudice.
Exactly.
That is blimey.
This is what I don't understand. You should
surprise, no? I want to tell you, here, last 2 weeks ago, I had, I was invited, to a barbecue with, here people are living, Indonesia is very interesting because there are all kinds of people, not only Russian-speaking people, but also from other ethnicities, let's say, no? And then I was in this barbecue with people from Ethiopia, from Somalia, from Angola, from Mozambique. Because they were the Soviet Union, they came here to study. The Soviet Union was providing education for free for developing countries. And then here, I'm glad, because I have to say, I have many friends here in Indonesia. Now it's bombed by the NATO. From African countries, very good. They speak Russian because they learn Russian here, during all this time, they came here to study. In that time, in Soviet Union, they were providing education for free. And then they learn Russian. They are living here. They marry here. They have children here. And they say, we are also rebels, like those Donbass rebels, let's say, the same,
Donbass rebels.
Rebels mean, Donbass rebels means because the media called them with this way, in this way, Donbass rebels.
Yeah, that's right, they did. Yep.
And the fascinating thing is that many of the Donbass rebels, those guys are not from the Donbass. I mean, they were not born here, but they are totally integrated into this society. It's amazing because those guys married here. Nobody. I understood that here. I don't know. Maybe it's not like in the United States, but I didn't find racism here, unless in the place I am living. I don't know in other places, but here in Indonesia, really not.
So you're basically saying that yes, people aren't so prepossessed and caught up with color. They, when people integrate and become
it's values that are the issue.
A member of society and believe in the same philosophies as everybody else. Then surely Where is the boundary? Why are people opposed? It shouldn't make any difference. Yes, there is a fundamental difference between the migration and that's going on in Europe right now, because those people are from fundamentally different cultures and religious backgrounds. So of course there is a huge difference that becomes highlighted and prevalent when they. It's not the same. It's not the same with people of color living in the West, especially in America. There is no definitive difference.
Let's try and keep this a little bit Eurocentric, because it's really this Le Pen election that is the big news story this week.
That's true.
We've done so much Trump on this show. Go on.
But at the root of that, they'll say that Le Pen's position is like a racist kind of a position. Now, what's funny about that is that's a very easy way to dismiss her argument.
Yes, it is. And I think that's exactly what's going on. But sorry, carry
exactly
on.
What's going on. And then consider Macron's affiliates, his affiliation with Rothschild bankers. That's like a cabal type of dude. So
yeah,
you see what I'm trying to say? So look at that tactic. I mean, he's smooth talking. He seems nice. He seems fresh and young. But hold on a second.
Le Pen's position is basically that she wants to leave the euro, and she wants to give the French people a referendum on whether or not to leave the EU zone. Yeah. That's her position. These are her two main points. And in terms of any of the kind of the more you could argue racist undertones of more Front National than her, it's about tightening up the borders. It's very much the same kind of rhetoric that Trump is using. Now,
that's what I'm saying.
You could argue that is all about national security, and given the fact that the French have had about 300 deaths as a result of jihadist terrorism over the course of the last couple of years, 80 in Nice alone, and Bataclan and God knows what. Given that, surely what she's doing is what the first duty of government, to protect its citizens. And is that racist, or is that just sensible policy? Now, let me just put the shoe on the other foot now. Macron, on the other hand, his policy is no. We actually need more Euro integration. We need to be pulling together. And the way I will counter this problem that we have with the jihadist threat, he very rarely uses that word jihadist, by the way, but the way I will counter it is by creating jobs so that everybody's happy. Well, that sounds to me a little bit like, it's a big bribe, frankly. But that is the difference. Completely different. She's saying we need to control our own borders. We need to take control of our own nation. And if he gets into power, it's actually like having Merkel. She said in the debate yesterday, there will be one woman in charge of France, irrespective of who wins. It'll either be me or it'll be Merkel, Angela Merkel. I thought it was a very funny line, actually. Is she really, in what she says, is she really being racist, or is she being nationalist, or is there a bit of a mix here? Miquel, what do you think?
About racism and so on, no? So because I was chatting with a friend now, I see with my friend Vilnius, no? And then what's the question?
Oh, for goodness sake, Piers, what do you think?
Okay, it is a very sensitive issue. This, I mean,
it's a very sensitive issue.
It is very difficult. I mean, the Le Front National historically has been a racist party.
Her father, certainly, Jean-Luc.
Yeah, but she did kick her father out of the party, and
that could have been a stunt.
I mean, I do think she's veering more towards acceptability now and sort of a liberal attitude, because she's obviously very keen to get elected. But there is this degree. It's an interesting issue. At the end of the day, it's about how well different people integrate into any given populace. Now, if you remove color from the equation altogether, and then just look at culture and religion as the main topics of a community's ability to integrate, then
I think that's fair.
that is the ultimate question. How well do?
Well, they're not doing very well. Integration in the UK is rubbish.
Okay, so
you go to a place like Bradford and walk around, and you're not going to see a lot of integration. Go to a place like Slough in Berkshire. You're not going to see a lot of integration. Go to a place like...
the argument is that certain faiths, certain cultures integrate better than others. So we've removed the colour equation
How do
altogether.
we deal with that?
So, yes, it is very difficult. So, therefore, one would assume there is some sort of argument towards, protection, because if a certain faith believes that they have a set of rules and laws that they adhere to that usurp all the rules and laws of any given country that they live in.
Well, yeah, basically importing Sharia that wants to, chuck, I don't know. It's not exactly.
You've got to be careful
friendly,
because we can't label everybody the same way.
No.
There are lots of moderate Muslim people who do integrate.
Absolutely.
But what we've got to look at it, we have to speak sort of in general terms, in terms of how well a faith will generally integrate.
Whether you're protecting the citizenry. And
you see, to me, the colour of someone's skin is irrelevant. It's never been an issue about that.
Do you say that we can accept, so many bad apples that's okay? It's because we're doing a kind of a moral good. I don't know.
I think of this as a globalist recipe. I mean, I think they're doing this by design. I mean, I think.
If I may, Piers, you bring up a very good point. It's a couple of points I've been holding on that I want to say right quick. For one, regarding the caller with the statement or the one who sent you the message. First thing, let's make this very, very clear. I don't really think that you can, and I'm going to tie this all together in a second, but I don't really think you can negate the suffering of one with the suffering of another. So let's make that really, really, really clear. Okay, yeah. Everybody is entitled to how they feel about their own experiences and their own circumstances. Okay, so that's one. So because you hear that a lot. Whenever you mention this, they'll say, "Oh, well, what about that?" Well, that has nothing to do with this. You can't take a black guy to the hospital with his arm cut off, take a white guy to the hospital with his leg cut off. Which one do you help first? I mean, they're both
two wrongs don't make a right. Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say. They're both screwed. So what I'm saying is like you shouldn't. One guy say, well, my leg is cut off. Well, wait a minute. What about you can't negate somebody's suffering with the suffering of someone else. So every time you mention slavery and reparations, then you hear the Irish argument. That has nothing to do with it. That would be like the Indians saying that this instead of the African. You can't negate somebody's suffering with the suffering of someone else. That doesn't make any sense. That's an illogical argument. Okay, so that's for one thing I wanted to say, and then the other thing too is what you just said a little while ago, Olly, to Piers. When Piers was having a conscious, when Piers was having some kind of compassion and some understanding, like he's like, I'm confused at why my quote unquote people that look like me, my ancestry, they've done these things. This is terrible. Okay. Now he's entitled to that. And then you will say, oh, well, you shouldn't own it. Well, okay, well, hold on. Now in that argument, right, you do understand, Olly, that there are other people that have been oppressed by the very same people that he's saying he's embarrassed about. You have other people that will hold you accountable.
The people he was talking about are all dead.
Yes, but guess what? But the legacy and the effect of what they've done isn't.
Yes, that's right. If we forget our history,
it's not done.
If we forget our history,
I'm not saying that we should. I'm not saying that we should forget our history, but we are in danger of going down a vicious circle, going down a downward spiral.
Of course, but watch the point I'm making, Olly. Watch the point I'm making. To disassociate that, right, kind of falls under this category. Psychopaths are never held accountable for what they do. So you have to be careful with that. But watch this one. What you're talking about, whether, a flood of Muslims coming here and a flood of well, hold on a second. Doesn't that look familiar? That's
No.
Europeans have done.
Hold on.
Understand.
Whoa. I underlined that. No, let me clarify that. I underlined that by saying we're bombing these people out of their homes, and that.
Yes. But what I'm saying is how they're doing it.
Actually, we should be stringing up on the gallows the war profiteers,
Absolutely. The bankers.
All
the bankers.
That.
Yeah, the bankers. If anybody hasn't seen it, if I may suggest something, there's a little video. You got to see a video called "All Wars Are Banker Wars." You got to see that. It's like on YouTube. You got to see it, because what that does, Ollie, is it shows you how the bankers have played everybody against everybody.
I realize that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And actually, you know what? That is it, isn't it? And that is the essence of political correctness as well. It's a tool
we're talking about.
that is used to divide people.
Whether you're talking about culture, whether you're talking about religion, or whether you're talking about color, these are the things, not to mention sexes, these are the things that they've used to divide us against each other.
Exactly. This is what I don't understand, because, you know, I just don't get the color thing. I just don't get it. I never judged anybody by the color of their skin. You get arseholes and cool people in all walks of life, whatever color they are.
I don't think the color thing is such a big issue in the UK, at least, I would say. Maybe I'm talking more London. I mean, I don't think the color thing is an issue at all in London, but the values thing is an issue. We have to share. If you are a nationalist, let's say you're just a family man. You are the ultimate nationalist in that case. You would probably defend your family with your life over and above any other family. That is the ultimate nationalism. You then, if you are being forced by an outside body, such as, I don't know, your local council or something, to bring members into your family that are from a different culture with different values, that's going to be very, very difficult. That's going to create problems. And that largely is what's happening in Europe. I'm not saying that there aren't, Muslims with the same values. I'm sure there are. I know there are. Damn it!
If there's a commonality in philosophy and a style of living, then there is no problem. Black and white becomes irrelevant. I do believe the whole thing is purely by design, as Lesley has just said. The globalists are using race, color, religion, and they are deliberately blending it into a giant melting pot of differences in order to discombobulate everybody and cause havoc. That's what they want. That's their globalist plan. There you go. And nationalism is on the rebound because people are beginning to wake up to this. And nationalism, or per se, extreme nationalism, is not necessarily a good thing. But it's a result. It's a sort of like a response to the fact that so many people from so many other parts of the world, with very different cultures and philosophies, are being thrown
Nationalism isn't a response to anything. Nationalism was there before anything else. Just like a kid, one of his first instincts is to support a football team. And so he'll support Manchester United. Imagine how that kid's going to feel, or that man or whatever is going to feel, if then suddenly they're told, you know what, we're going to take Man City and we're going to lump it with Man United and it's going to be one team. There'd be uproar. There'd be riots on the streets of Manchester. And
Ollie, Manchester United is supported all over the world by many people.
But that's essentially what's happening with Europe, isn't it? That's a similar kind of a deal. And how does that...
I understand what you're saying. It's a sort of tribalistic, kind of, way of thinking.
Yeah.
It is. Yes, it is family, but you see, I don't disclude, people as I see a family as a common body of spirit and mind. That is ultimately what a family to me is. It's got nothing to do with the color of someone's skin. It's to do with how you perceive the world and what you hold as valuable and what you You know, how you choose to govern your existence. You know, and yes, there are philosophies out there that oppose that. And if you mix everybody together, then obviously, yes, you're right. That does cause difficulties. But I do think, as we keep drawing back, that this is being done by design. The globalists want to reduce, minimize a common spirit. They want to cause chaos because order out of chaos. It's an old Masonic mantra. You know, ordo ab chaos. Order out of chaos. So you create the chaos, and then you.
I know all this. We're on Revolution Radio here. Our folks listening to this, they kind of know this stuff. What I'm really trying to get out here is, are the folks that are considering Le Pen, are they racist? Are the folks that went for Brexit, are they racist? Are the folks that went for Trump, are they racist? Because that's the mantra coming from the left-leaning press, which is the dominant press. And I think that we need to be a little bit more open-minded. I agree. I think that's out again.
The left, what you speak about the left, well, sorry, I am a leftist, myself, and then I don't consider that, how to say, that the situation, I mean, the Brexiters are racist, you understand, or even I don't consider that, how to say, it's true that myself, it's difficult not to, I mean, I supported even Donald Trump. I am a leftist, you know what I mean? Donald Trump, because it was better option than the Satan. I mean, Hillary Clinton was Satan. You had two options. No, look, you had two options. Satan or Hillary Clinton. So, Satan.
Right.
Satan is much better the president than Satan. You know what I mean? I mean, Satan is much better than Hillary Clinton.
Satan's the better option.
I will vote for Satan.
Well, she was on the Saudi payroll.
About Macron, look, I repeat again that I am leftist. I am not a fan of Marine Le Pen, I have to say, But look, the other option, well, is basically is simply NATO wars, and also, well, the globalists. The globalists that means a tiny faction of the elite in the world, because they are working. They are not working for France. They are working for the elite in the world. You understand? And they imposed this Macron that he looks even a kind of psycho, no? And I want to say you. I have to say you that me really it's difficult, no, because.
It's difficult. It's complicated.
No, for a leftist, because the Front National is coming from the really in the past. In the past was a party really very close to fascists, but have developed another thing in a movement, in a kind of something different, nationalists. It's very curious what happened with the Front National, because became I call them like a defensive nationalism. I mean, they are defending France actually. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's defensive against the globalists, the imposition of the interest of a tiny elite, against the will of the people, against the will of the people. So this kind of nationalism is defensive. Well, I may understand. I understand even.
See, the alternative is communism, isn't it? The alternative is that we do globalize everything, get rid of all the borders. We say that we're all one. And it's essentially it's kind of like a form of social communism.
They say that globalism is the end of the last barrier. I am using a Marxist framework or analysis. The capitalism has been expanding, and then basically they have three barriers right now. The first barrier is the religion. The religion still is a barrier for the total triumph of capitalism in the conscience of the people. You understand me? It's kind of barrier, and also the family. The family is also.
It's a barrier. Religion is a barrier for
religion,
for capitalism.
For the commodification of the people. They are looking for individuals, and they want to destroy the social aggregates. You understand me? Something that people are still around three. There are three concepts that are annoying for the globalization of and the triumph of the radical individualism. They are looking for that. The one of them is the family. The family, is being attacked by the market. Let's say they have to transform everything in market. Everything is market. Everybody is individual. You understand me? Religion is annoying. The family is also annoying. It's a barrier because also somehow it's a barrier between the market and the individual, the consumer. I mean, they are attacking that. And also nation. The nation state is also still very annoying. And then, they are all the globalists are focused. They are targeting nation states. Nation states are barrier for the expansion of their project. The project is
Miquel, why are these three things, the individual, the nuclear family, and the nation state, why are those three things barriers to capitalism?
Are barrier for because they are looking for basically, what is looking for the capital is the total triumph of the capital is transforming us in commodities. Commodities without any identity.
Now we're back to slavery.
Simply, they want you become a consumer and a producer, and then without any faith. The only faith is the market, the money,
the money.
That's it. And the ideology is this kind of. It's very interesting how part of the left, unfortunately. They forgot the essential analysis of Karl Marx, that has not anything to do with gays. Sorry, but Karl Marx never was speaking about gays in the. I read Marx extensively, you know, or he never was speaking about gays or about even he was against slavery. That's for sure. But the how to say? I mean, he was not, and also about the family. Let's say that Marx himself was quite a traditional person because he married, and he has a family, somehow I want to tell you that the left became they are not really more interested in social issues, but in civil rights, But civil rights, what does it mean? Civil rights, it means giving right to gays. I mean, everything is around gays and about minorities.
Why do you have to lose the values that individuals and families have, whilst also respecting the rights of people with alternative lifestyles? Why?
The narrative of the left, the traditional left, was focused in social rights. It means right to get a job, accommodation, education for free, and also healthcare. This was the basic of all the left historically. But somehow, especially.
So you're saying they want you
in the past, but right now,
into the system. Is that it?
Right now,
you're saying it's a hook.
Somehow, part of the left became part of the problem. Actually.
Well, Olly, if I may.
It became actually the official ideology, or somehow it's kind of official ideology of the globalists. All the globalists are liberal. Those kind of liberal left, that for them, they're drinking cappuccinos, connected. For them, it's very important having fast Wi-Fi. And then later, let's bomb Libya. Let's bomb. This Syria.
And then this is where you see I find a lot of opposite. I'm not sure what is left and what right anymore.
It's very sad how you can find the left people. They say they are leftists supporting the bombing of Tripoli. You understand me? Or supporting the war against the Syrian people in Syria, because it's the thing that is happening there. You lost all your credibility. You understand me? The left. Actually, this is because many people became anti-left, because they hate the left, because it's very curious how the National Front they were very 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 good, in that, beginning from a right-wing party, and you read the program of the National Front or the Front National. It's very social. It's very socialist.
Hey guys, hold on a sec. There's a call. Hold on. Yeah, hello. Oh Oh no! Oh no! We got a problem with the line. Oh, we'll try and get that back. We'll try and get that back. I'm sorry. We'll try and get that back. I don't know what that was. No idea. Oh, hold on. Hold on. It might. I don't know. No, it's not. Oh yeah. Hold on. Yeah, here we go. Sorry. Yeah.
Hello? You're on the radio.
She's a Jerry.
Sorry?
Jerry. Bloody Jerry. Germanic, you know.
I'm sorry. Is that a HRH Prince Philip, Duke of Frogspawn on Thames?
Oh, God. She's listening in.
Philip?
Oh, God. She's listening in again.
Oh, really, Philip? What has one told you about calling into the radio?
Philip. Missed. Bloody tranny. Yes, you. Missing about your dress on the bloody lawn. Take that, you bounder. Got him.
Oh, really, Philip? You've just shot the Archbishop of Canterbury.
You look like a poof.
I think that was Prince Philip. He was in
Prince Phillips is Philip.
was in the news, wasn't he? He quit. He retired today, and he's had a bit of a, God, I sound like him. Then he's got a bit of a.
He looks, a kind of a dark Sith,
Yeah, he does look like a dark Sith. Yeah, you're right.
Dark Sith, I
think he's 95 years old. He's reached his sell-by date, and whenever they let him out in public, he insults everybody. So it's sort of he's become a complete liability. I mean, you can't let him out without him calling.
On the sauce.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he's dreadful. Good. Let him go and sit by some little fire and.
Would you call him nationalist or racist or both in spades or what?
I think he's an elitist. Supercilious, priggish.
Why did he quit? Have they run out of baby's blood transfusions or something?
I actually think he has a cup of baby's blood for breakfast every morning.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm totally sure. He's taking some blood for breakfast. No? So,
go on, Lesley.
I want to raise a little question. Okay, Saddam was a nationalist, right?
He was. Saddam.
Okay. They killed him, right? Okay, right. All right, Gaddafi.
Well, Gaddafi, I mean, those guys really, I want to tell you myself, nationalists. Well, what does it mean, nationalists? Maybe you call them, I don't know, really. I'm not really a fan of Saddam Hussein, I have to say, Or by no, I'm not a fan. Sorry, but I know. Or even Gaddafi, well, I have some sympathy, but I'm not really a fan, But I understand why we, the people in the West, we are supporting bombing other countries. I mean, I don't understand, because how many countries were bombed by let's say, well, maybe one or maybe no. Saddam Hussein had this war, against Iran. But
okay, Miquel, point well made. Lesley, carry on, mate. Carry on. What were you going?
Where I was going to go with that is now you have Le Pen, a nationalist, right? Then you have Trump. Yeah. Some would say he's a nationalist. Now, if you notice, ain't nobody trying to kill him.
Yeah, well, they're nationalists who to Saddam Hussein. I mean, I don't know. They are well nationalists. Trump, you can consider him. I don't know what is really Donald Trump. Lately, I am thinking about because maybe he represented some faction inside of.
Actually, a kid did try to kill him at one of his rallies, a Brit, and he was extradited.
But they don't. They don't have to try and kill him. They don't have to try and kill him because they've got loads of blackmail footage of him probably raping some little girl.
Or they just threatened Ivanka or something.
Yeah, I mean, they've got him.
Obama threatened his daughter. I don't know.
They've got Trump by the balls now, and he's basically just like dancing to the globalist tune. I mean, although I have heard in the alternative world that a lot of what's going on at the moment is smoke and mirrors, and that we don't really know what the real picture is. I mean, I think there might be a degree of truth in that, that a lot of what we read about, I mean, we know for a fact that a lot of what we read about in the mainstream media is absolute nonsense anyway.
Nonsense.
And therefore,
very,
a lot of
very fake.
Very, very fake.
Sorry.
Very fake indeed. And therefore, a lot of what we're given, it could be deemed a distraction from other things that are happening behind the scenes. And I do think an enormous amount of jostling and negotiation and, whatever you want to describe it as, is happening out of the radar right now. I think, an enormous amount. And a lot of the sort of puppet show media that we're exposed to is just there, literally like some sort of giant soap opera. To keep us distracted, while all the real stuff is going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, absolutely. And a good example of that was today with Obamacare being, the Congress went and passed Ryan Care or whatever it's called, kind of taking over. I don't have any idea what the difference is, because the entire news story was about basically a bunch of Republicans backslapping each other, rather than them telling us what is the difference. What is the difference in the policy and in the detail? And in the meantime, this thing hasn't been passed by Congress yet. It's got to go through. Sorry, it hasn't been passed by the Senate yet, and therefore it's not final anyway. And the news story of the week is what's going on in France. And guess what? They weren't talking about that. They weren't talking about that at all. They weren't talking about the fact that Le Pen yesterday called Macron a crook, and that he is now suing her.
Caribbean defamation. He sold up a defamation.
Distraction.
And it's just all over the place.
But he went to Jesuit school. He worked for the Rothschilds, and he went to Bilderberg in 2014 and was talking to some of the biggest crooks in the world at Bilderberg. People like Peter Mandelson and Tony Blair and Kissinger. Yeah, I mean, like, the guy is about as establishment globalist as they come. And now he's changed. It's extraordinary,
Which brings me on
the difference between Marine Le Pen and this guy Macron is basically that Marine Le Pen, you can maybe myself don't share some of the point of view. She has some point of views that maybe you don't share, but this lady has an ideology. You understand me? It's a person with
it's a third way cancer.
The other guy has not any kind of ideology.
Whatever the hell that is.
He could be a Nazi in Nazi Germany, a communist in Stalinist communism. You understand me? These kind of people are simply, they don't have any kind of ideology. The ideology is the having money, the power. You understand? It's the power. Not because Marie Le Pen is a lady with ideology. I mean, it's ideology with
one of those two. Which one of those two?
It's like reminds me. Macron is like, for instance, he reminds me very much the apparatchiks, Soviet apparatchiks, with all the ideology, like Grybauskaitė. Let's take Madame Grybauskaitė. She's the president of Lithuania. I was living in Lithuania many years. She was a member of the KGB, and now she's, all over on NATO. And she's a super. He loves so much Europe that she created there again an authoritarian regime where nobody can speak anything there, because there is a de facto a dictatorship in Lithuania. The people don't speak about that.
You speak Russian, yeah? You speak Russian.
I speak Lithuanian. Russian I am learning. I speak Lithuanian language because I spent 10 years in Lithuania. In Lithuania, they speak Lithuanian language. Russian is also spoken.
Very similar to Russian, is it not?
No. The Lithuanian language is a kind of, it's a very strange language. It's a Baltic language. There are only two languages of this branch of, it's an Indo-European language, but not Slavic. It's similar to the Latvian. And there are only around 7 million people that speak Lithuanian and Latvian, even less.
I have a question for all three of you. Which of those two, Macron and Le Pen, do you suggest will, if they both had their terms, they ran them in full, at the end of those terms, which of those two would have killed or been responsible for the most deaths on this planet?
Ooh.
I mean, there's a question. I think who is more responsible? I mean, it's difficult to answer. I mean,
that's a tricky one.
We have Le Pen, who reckons that she wants to be more isolationist.
Yeah.
And we have Macron that reckons that he wants to be more globalist. I don't know whether there's a clue there. I don't know. I personally think there's a huge clue there, but I might be wrong.
Well, it depends. I mean, a lot of the people rioting in France at the moment are obviously from the Muslim population, because they feel that if Le Pen gets in, then their say in the country is going to be reduced to zero, and obviously they're up in arms about that.
That's not what she's saying. That's not what Le Pen is saying. She's not saying we're going to kick anybody out. Well, no, she is saying.
Well, she is saying that. She is.
Prison capacity to 40,000. Yes, she is.
She is. She is.
I mean, people up. She wants,
you see, you could argue that if she did get in, then all hell would break loose, and you know, people, you know, there are, you know, I mean, Macron is sort of just the same.
There are riots on the streets in Paris practically every night now, though.
Yeah, because
so hell has already broken loose.
But who's rioting? Who's rioting? That's the $1 million
Muslim people mainly, and largely because they feel that the police are very racist, and maybe they're right. Maybe they're right.
Well, take that and amplify it if she gets in office.
Well, this is the thing, you know, I mean, you know, they're not, you know, there's a large enough Muslim population in France now to cause, you know, serious havoc if she comes in and tries to bring in.
There are no-go zones, apparently, throughout France.
Yeah, but is the situation not going to be made worse if you end up with someone like Le Pen getting in, you know? Because ultimately, you know, you're disenfranchising a huge proportion of the population. Let me just. Can I just bring something in?
Let me answer you. Let me answer you then with just a devil's advocate answer, really, which is that put the shoe on the other foot, and you have another million Muslims come into France over the course of the next presidency. Maybe that's a high figure. But bearing in mind the kind of numbers we've seen going into Germany, it's not entirely impossible. Then you could say that the French are the indigenous French people are being put upon. You could say. You could also argue that whatever calamity is going on, whatever strife is going on the streets of France, it's a lot worse what's happened in places like Libya and Syria. Many more people being killed there, whether Muslims or Christian or whatever.
Your question was, you know, would Macron or Le Pen cause more deaths globally?
Not just in France, but as a result of their policy.
I mean, it's a difficult question to answer because, as you say, if Macron would allow more immigration, more migration, more refugees into France, which ultimately might lead to an amnesty.
She talks about an amnesty. He talks about same path.
Yes, I mean exactly, and obviously he's a globalist, and they are all about bringing in people from various parts of the world, different cultures, different faiths, and basically creating a melting pot within Europe where people do lose their national identity. So therefore, it's easier for them to dissolve borders and create one giant homogenized European superstate.
That's demographic engineering that's going on, and the EU is directly responsible for that.
Well, this is, I mean, it does boil back to the original, you know, this is what I think the globalist plan is, you know, I do, you know, the thing is, Le Pen isn't perfect, Trump isn't perfect, but they're the only options that people had. I don't actually think that people like Donald Trump or Le Pen, but they're voting for for them because it's the only alternative option they have to globalist domination. So
Yeah,
like,
you are right. You are totally
You're right. You're right about that. You're right about that.
It's like I mean, people voted for Trump not because they are in love of Trump. It's because the other option is
right.
Is
Exactly.
Satan.
The other option.
So, I mean, you have Donald Trump or
They
Satan.
hated Hillary now.
Donald Trump. You understand me? I mean,
Yeah, they hated Hillary.
That is one point
Exactly.
everybody agrees on.
Wow. You find the Marine Le Pen. Well, myself I am leftist. I tell you, my father was communist in Barcelona, and myself I consider kind of Marxist, And then, but look, sorry, I am not going to vote for this Macron. You understand me? I mean, there is no. I mean, you have or Le Pen or well, this is also Macron is the face. It has even the face of a psychopath. I mean, so it's a person with ideology. He's a cold guy. He represents the words of the globalists in Europe. You understand me? So well, you don't have other option. Unfortunately, you don't have other option. There is not a candidate on the left there. No, they is working. So. Let's say, that's it. Many who is going to vote for Marine Le Pen? Well, many people from the working class people, French working class, they lost their jobs. They feel
disenfranchised.
It's like this, and not because they are racist. It's just because they are actually they are defending their own lives. Actually, that's it, and their families. That's it. And because their own interest. No, I mean, many pay attention that the Front National have incorporated inside the Front National the program. People don't know that, but former communists are now a member of the Front National, and they are very active in developing the social program, especially the social program of the Front National. That this party is true that is coming from the far right, but somehow have become more centered and incorporating quite a lot of things that are coming from the left, historical left in France. And the other option is this puppet of the globalists, that is Macron. I mean, there is no other option. No? So I don't like the Front National. Really, I will not. If I had other choice, I will vote for other person. But because I don't have other choice, you don't understand me, I will vote for Donald Trump because the other option.
Exactamente.
Exacto. The other option is voting like a worse than Satan. Even look. If that is Macron as Satan, I vote for Satan. You understand me?
There are other things we can do. There are some other things that we can do. I mean, if just coming back to the point of integration, because I think that this is one half of the key is stop bombing foreign countries and expecting that's part one. And then part two is integration. When you have got folks coming together, you've got to work out some form of integration. And I'm just actually looking at my Facebook timeline now. And BBC Newsnight, I follow them on, I don't know why, because I can't stand the show really. But I like to see what the enemy is saying. And they are a globalist moniker. But they do have some very good points every now and then. They've got a story on there now. Abolish faith schools. They harm integration. This is a writer and broadcast called Afua Hirsch. Who is saying this in their Views Night segment. Abolish faith schools. To me, that is an absolute obvious. Why on earth do we allow faith schools? Why do we give so much prominence to religion?
Because it divides us. And
exactly what they want. They love that. They divide us with it, yeah.
Does everybody here agree? Or maybe this isn't fair because maybe we're all, not in some. I'm not saying we don't have faith, but maybe we're not especially religious people. Maybe it's not a good batch of folks to ask, but why do we sort of can't we turn our back? Or can we not demand that they stop covering every time there's an election which is hanging slightly on the balance? They seem to get the Pope to come in and say, oh, you must go for the middle centrist character. I mean, they did it again with Macron. He's just backed Macron. Right. He's backed Hillary Clinton. He backed.
You're talking about the influence of religion on politics. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do we? This guy's got an imaginary. He's got a tooth
psychological tactic because people listen. We could be sitting here right now, right? And let's say we talking about women, right? We talking about the good times with women. Oh man, I remember this chick had this trick with her mouth, and a priest would walk up and our conversation would change. Yeah. So that's the same thing that they do with
I don't think
religion.
mine would, actually.
That's what they do with
I'm
religion.
not as respectful towards the church as I used to be.
Well, I'm saying
Some
on an
bloke
average,
tried it
on
on
an
with-
average,
Actually,
you know,
carry
on an average, yeah. So what happens is they understand. They understand in terms of the populace. They understand the mind control that religion is. So what they do is that, you know, this you see this in politicians a lot, especially in America. You know, you have the religious component added to a politician. You know what I mean? I can name a few, and then all of a sudden they have some kind of validity because they added this religious component to them.
Oh,
so
man,
that's
to
what
me
they do.
it's the opposite. I think,
Yeah,
oh,
well, I know.
no.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like if you understood the depths and the horrors and the things that have been done in the name of religion under the disguise.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that ain't a good thing. Like to make that association with that. And I know there's many that disagree, but I'll stand true on it till the day that I die. It doesn't make sense to have that level of corruption that goes on in religion and then try to use religion to validate other things. When it's like you're trying to get some clothes clean, but you washing them in some dirty water. That doesn't make sense.
That isn't going to change anytime soon, though, is it? People are really...
No. People are really... There are people that will have a fit with me because I've said that. I go through it every day on my Facebook wall, but it's okay. You know,
but you see, you know, the message of Christ or any of the prophets have been warped. You know, to basically, you know, to basically turn it into the doctrine of man. I mean, you know, the purity of religion is about love, acceptance, understanding, and it's exactly the same in all faiths, but it's been twisted and perverted by people, by men, so they can control other people. And that, you know, I mean, you can be religious, be spiritual, you know, believe in the core basic elements of your faith, but don't believe in the nonsense that ends up dividing everybody. You know, it's absurd, you know, and it's all been put in place, and we've all been brainwashed, you know, by.
You know, let me just read something. I just want to read this very quickly. This is from a friend that I was talking to yesterday, actually, when I was preparing this show, and he knew what it was about, and he wrote this, and I thought this is rather beautiful and very wise. I thought it is staggeringly depressing that so many are blinkered and believe that what they see in a 15-minute news show, or because it says so in a newspaper, most spend their whole life being manipulated without realizing that is happening to them. For us to see that it is happening, it is frustrating at the very least. To the blind being manipulated, they feel no sense of injustice because they are blind. They think their feelings are caused by things happening or being done without realizing that their feelings are 100% their own responsibility and can be changed in an instant by thinking differently about the same set of circumstances. They think they are racist or not because those people are different, and they fail to realize that they learned that from somewhere, and that it isn't innate in humans. It's sad for you and me because we're a little more enlightened and see the subterfuge, the control, the trickery, the downright nasty manipulation that the rich and powerful use against these people. Hence an even greater need to turn inward and know that we know and find peace with ourselves, because we won't find it anywhere else. That is not to say that this isn't right to fight for the downtrodden. Of course it is, and to help those who genuinely need it. But when we start with ourselves, when we start with our inner voice and higher self and seek to just be the best that we can be, then that is the biggest positive change that we can bring. When people see that we don't need this or that to be happy, like an iPhone or whatever, then maybe that just for a moment touches their thinking, makes them question, perhaps for the very first time in their life, who they really are and how they might change for good and be a change for good peace man. Anyway, look, guys, thank you so much. Everybody, Lesley, Blair, Miquel Puertas, Piers, Garnham. We're kind of there, and it's just another show, another Jingly Jangly. You guys
nice
have been
to talk
awesome.
to you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Cheers, Lesley. Cheers, Miquel.
Yes.
Superb international crowd. Awesome.
Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
This is Revolution Radio. This was Jingly Jangly. I was Olly Connelly. And we didn't get anywhere at all. Completely buggered. But you got to laugh. You got to laugh, yeah? Good luck, the French. All of you. All of you. Mike Harris coming up. Short end of the stick.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio.